studio. There we go. Sorry about that, kids. I'm not exactly sure what happened. We had. Well, no, I know exactly what happened. We had an encoding overload. I just don't know what overloaded the encoding.
The fact that Buzz is a quote machine.
They couldn't hand them the bars that I was spitting.
The what?
You were certainly spitting something.
The bars. The bars that I'm literally spitting out of my mouth.
Fucking Eminem up in the top right there. I fucking Buzz from the 8 Mile.
I can't do that too long. I might get pulled for copyright flag.
Don't worry. I don't think anyone's going to pull a copyright flag on that, bro.
That's true. They might pay me to sing it just because, like, hey, it's on the worldwide famous GoreCast.
And they might pay you not to sing it just because.
With our hundreds and hundreds of fans.
Anyway,
I'm getting money, so I don't care.
All right. So
for those of us joining us, Carter is about to give us his actual synopsis as opposed to just it was good.
Yep. But it was. All right.
It's okay. You took a minute. You got your breath back. It's all good.
So quick shout out to those in the chat. Sorry it took us so long to get back, but hey. Castle Freak 2020. Like I said, we have the couple of people, John and Shelly, they're getting ready to leave a party. John, way too fucking intoxicated to drive. Right, like super fucked up. Unfortunately,
in the 3 minutes you meet John initially, he drinks about a half a liter of vodka and whatever about 3/4 of it was in that canteen. I don't know what it was in it. And a whole bunch of Coke.
Right.
A couple of lines of Coke.
If nothing else, this film really likes to kind of double down on this is a good person, this is a shitty person. Like, they go out of their way to, like, really make sure you do like or not like a fucking person. And they really went out of their way to make sure John is a fucking douchebag. So John basically wrecks the car. Shelly's blind. And then out of nowhere, we don't really get like a timestamp, but Shelly gets a phone call. Hey, you've inherited a fucking castle. Come on down. And so she does.
Right?
Huh?
Was she on The Price is Right?
Yes, she was. Like, she spun that bitch and called me. Fuck 95. But she won the fucking castle, so she goes down. The boyfriend has decided we're going to sell every and anything in this motherfucker, and we are going to have the money to do whatever we want. He keeps reinforcing it's us. She kind of has a hook to where she didn't realize she had this aspect or this part of her family tree.
She's adopted,
she's kind of wanting to get to know it.
Yeah, she's put up for adoption.
Or put up for adoption. So, she's kind of like just thrown into this world of like, holy shit, I've got other family. Who are these people? What are these people? And John's like, fuck it. Put a price tag on everything. Let's get the fuck out. Unfortunately, the castle that she inherits has a horrid dark history or dark secret. Since it came out in 2020, like, I don't want to really give a bunch of shit away.
You know what the dark secret is? The movie's called Castle Freak. Well, you know kind of what the dark secret is.
Okay. Yeah, but some. You know what I mean? Like, because it's different from the original. Like, they went very Lovecraftian in this version of Castle Freak. So, like, there is a Castle Freak. Some shit's gonna go down, but they did do a different kind of version with this one.
What's up, Wednesday? How are you?
Yeah, like I was saying earlier, I can understand what they were doing with this. They say it's supposed to be inspired by a story called The Outsider by Lovecraft, and I can kind of see how, but I think it's far more inspired by the Dunwich Horror, and I think they kind of used that as a template to kind of remake the Castle Freak kind of in regard to some of the story. And they dropped a bunch of stuff in that's clearly from Lovecraft. There's like a Cthulhu statue, there's a Necronomicon, and we find out that by the end of it, one of the characters' names is Armitage, and he is one of the characters from Dunwich Horror, along with, to be fair, your one's mother, Lavina Whately, is directly from the Dunwich Horror. So as I said, for me, it's just the first time I've seen someone take that story and in any way, shape, or form translate it onto the screen.
I'm gonna go with, because like the four of us have lightly talked about it behind the curtain and chat and shit.
I wouldn't say I lightly
me,
talked about it.
It's not the best.
I was gonna sit on for a good like hour.
The more I watched it, the angrier I got.
Anywho.
And then there was a period around. Unfortunately, the period where it got good was 3/4 ways into the movie, which is where I had an issue, because it was literally 45.
Yeah.
No, there was over an hour's worth of literally shit all happening.
For me though, like this is a very just kind of turn your brain off and watch it horror. I caught this at like 3 a.m. There's, if you've seen the original, you know what the storyline is. So you just kind of sit back and just like watch it. There's a shit ton of shock value. They go out of their way to kind of like, are you grossed out yet?
But
How
yeah,
about now?
here's the problem though.
Actually,
You
do you wanna
never
know
are.
something? Do you want to know? There was one glaring issue at the start of the film that automatically, in my head, I thought, oh, I can see why Johnny had a problem with it. And that's, you see somebody using a flail, and that's fine. But then you're like, wait, they're only using a flail. In the previous film, when we saw that being employed, that was a cat o' nine tails. That's a completely different beast
the flail
altogether.
definitely was taking chunks out of her though. So I'm not sure, did it have, because I
Yeah,
remember your
but
man
it's not
mentioning cat o' nine tails in
Oh,
the
no.
remake.
Yep. Don't get me wrong. A flail over a prolonged time, it'll do damage, but not the damage that a cat o' nine tails will do on each and every strike.
One of the issues I had storyline was if you go back to the original kind of Castle Freak movie, one of the reasons you're very sympathetic with the daughter in that is the fact that she didn't really particularly have a choice to get in the car herself. Both of her parents got in the car. She had to get in the car. She became blind as a repercussion of that. Shelley in the remake is literally sitting beside John and watches him skull all of this shit and do all of that. And
No,
you don't have the same level of.
But like you pointed out, though, it's still that same. It's still kind of that same scope, though, because at any point the mom could have been like, "Yo, dick."
Yeah, no,
you're too
that's
drunk,"
what I'm saying. But that's the mom.
She didn't.
It's not the daughter.
But that's the mom looking after
but I'm
her
talking
children,
about the point. The point is
the
daughter
daughter
is truly
an innocent civilian.
The point is the daughter's completely out of the equation of the decision. She is merely blind as a byproduct of two idiots making a bad choice. If you get me, she had no. Yeah,
Shelley
is one of the idiots making a bad choice.
Her own repercussions.
It changes. It changes the swing of things very significantly.
Because I'm not saying that by any point that the movie was good. I had that same argument because she willingly got in the car, but then like in the movie, in the original, like the wife's like, "Oh, but," and he's like, "God, I'm an asshole." They tried to kind of like bring that over to the remake where she's like, "Oh, well, I can't see that," and he's like, "Fuck," but that's not like
I had
fault.
this
Like,
with Pam
you
last
still...
night. I had this with Pam last night as well, where it's kind of like, you're kind of 50% responsible for what happened to you. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, not unlike what I said about the mom in the previous movie, you had the option to turn around to your boyfriend and be like, "Look, you're fucking fucked up, dude. Get in a cab." "No, I'm not getting in a cab. Fuck you. I'm driving." "Okay, well, I'm getting in a fucking cab."
I think she does actually. She does question it for about a half a second, but rather than kind of, she's like, "Are you okay to drive?" "Of course I am." And then she leaves it at that. It's kind of like, "No, he's fucking not, you nubbin."
What that also built her character, though, because it was like, I'm not trying to make her sound necessarily weak, but you see her character throughout the film. He's constantly kind of overminding her. "Babe, we're fine. Babe, you're good. Babe, we'll do this. Babe, we're rich." Like that kind of, in a sense, fits her character till towards the end where she's like, "Oh, well, he kind of had like that, not necessarily like iron thumb over her, but he did have like a control over how she reacted to shit."
They try to make her sympathetic.
Yeah. she could make a jab, but she never really stood up to him at any point.
And also, my question is, why are people just letting blind people walk around without like any assistance? Because that happened multiple times.
Well,
both
in the
movies.
defense of your man, she does kind of just up and go sometimes, quite inexplicably. Granted, do you know what I mean? Like she has a phenomenal, like she's barely in that castle 2 days, and she's wandering around the castle. She's going downstairs making breakfast, blind as fuck.
Right. Now, granted, she almost dies when she like goes into whatever like the living room was with the statue.
Actually,
but she's
to be fair,
like no issue.
To be fair, he fucked that one up as well, because the first, like, he's in the kitchen. He's like, "Where are you?" "I'm in here." "She's blind, you knob jockey."
Listen
what
to
the
the
hell?
sound of my voice.
And managed to avoid all the walls and everything.
Oh yeah,
in between.
I'm not disagreeing with
managed
that.
to find
yeah, sorry, I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Haha,
I thought
right.
you were like, however will she figure it out? She's fucking blind, bro. Do you know what I mean? Like her ears fucking work.
Yes, but they can't detect all the solid objects that are around.
They tried to do that too, where she like almost like she had super hearing at a couple of parts, where she's like had her back to the group and they're talking, and then she's got to like close up on her ear.
I
She's
won't lie
like,
to
"I
you.
hear
There
what
was
you're saying."
there were some very weird
Kind of
choices
like,
put in where it looked like there was times
unfortunately-
where she was just wearing blind contact lenses.
Yeah.
To be blatantly honest, do you know what I mean? There was one stage where he was talking
Like,
to her. She didn't even do the blind kind of thing that they do in acting, where you kind of look off in the distance. She's literally looking at the guy, fucking eye to eye, like.
Oh shit! I forgot him.
This was not a well thought out film,
Yeah.
because of like those moments where it's like she's blind, but in the same sense, like, okay, it's just me sitting in a room. How could I not hear certain things? Like actually behind the wall, stuff like that. Like there's so many fucking aspects of this movie where I was like, it could be
Just
shit.
to clarify
better.
with something that Rabbit said, I'm not
Cool.
disputing. I know you're not disputing what I'm saying. I'm very well aware to the best, like that blind people can cook, but that's in their own house where they have this layout that they know and they kind of know where everything is. This
Right.
girl's cooking breakfast 2 days into a
Captain,
castle she's
know
never
your
been in
place.
before. Do you know what I mean? With what I can only describe as
And
ungodfully
just
large
briefly-
stairs to go down to get into the kitchen.
Just briefly, the fact that she dreamed she could see was probably because before the accident she could see. So
Well, and also like here's the other part of the problem. Like there's so much of this film that went into that whole like supernatural Lovecraftian kind of thing. So what are we looking at? Are we looking at like reality? Or are we looking at like supernatural? Like so much of that blends together like in a really ugly way that you can't necessarily tell like where you're at storyline, if that makes sense.
It's
Like
also due to the cameraman.
Yeah,
who
I
couldn't
was
hold the
actually
camera
going to say that
straight for
some of
5
my
minutes.
major issues with this movie on a technical
So that-
standpoint opposed to
It was like a fucking
yeah,
box
like
turtle.
here's the thing.
recording.
I
really is
don't
like
like
some fucking
before my leg
shit.
blew out and waving around with a camera wasn't a fucking option or was an option. I like doing handheld stuff myself, but I've got a steady hand. Do you know what I mean? Like there's a natural motion that you can do with a camera. This was fucking, you know what I mean? And then there were shots that were blatantly on a dolly or a Steadicam, which confused me because it was like, why the fuck wouldn't you, like, if the camera's that fucking shaky, retake the fucking shot with the dude with the Steadicam, or book more Steadicam.
I'm not gonna lie. Like I'm not gonna lie, because again, the whole film itself is like a train wreck. It's a bunch of great ideas and motions. Either because 1 minute it's good.
There was also,
Majority of the
do you
time
notice
it's
there was a lot of slow zoom in, then cut to slow zoom out, then cut to slow zoom in, cut to slow zoom out, and it was kind of like, dude, pan the fucking camera left and right a little bit. Jesus Christ! I mean, you're aware there's more than fucking one direction in a fucking video camera. There's 4 whole axes you're completely missing out on. You're just working your X and your Y's, bro.
However, like Sweet just pointed out, are we not talking about the biggest part of the movie that is different? and I'm not quite sure what she's talking about.
I would imagine.
Again,
I would imagine it's all the stuff that revolves around the Necronomicon, and I won't get into any more than that, seeing as you mentioned Necronomicon.
Right. Like, you know,
See,
and so
that's what I was saying earlier. To be fair, right, I can understand why people are looking at it and kind of going, "What the hell is the story about? What am I watching?" Once my brain twigged what the story was based on, I was like,
I had
I see what
no problem following what the story was whatsoever. I had no issues following the story whatsoever. My issue with the story was, don't get me wrong, once Necronomicon gets properly involved, that whole section I really enjoyed. I thought that was really, really fucking cool. I was just a bit pissed off that it took an hour and 10 minutes of fuck all happening for that to happen.
So, all right. So for everybody listening, watching, whatever, the boyfriend's everything in the castle. We eventually trip over. Well, we've already called it. We tripped over the Necronomicon.
It says it in the trailer, so you're going to hear it if we play the trailer. So it's not going to be a surprise.
Oh, it does. Okay.
Yeah, but the word
I don't want to be that
for
asshole.
Italian.
Okay.
I know. I just want.
No, and I appreciate that. Like, I don't want to be that asshole. So,
well, also, the words
triple the
Lovecraftian got mentioned 500 times before we got into any sort of details like that, so you're kind of assuming some sort of Necronomicon-related madness will happen.
Yeah, real quick, Jer's heading out. Bye, Jer.
Right, catch you later, Jer. Thanks for joining.
So, yeah, no, like, I just don't want to, like, give away a bunch of shit. So we have the Necronomicon, so we know there's whole Lovecraftian shit. It's not really until like the friends show up to the castle to help us like tag and bag everything that the story really takes off.
Bro, even when the friends are there, the friends are there for quite some time before shit starts happening as well. There's also one issue before you move on. One issue, speaking of the friends been there, obviously because the friends love partying, they're partying, right? There's one point where they're all supposedly on cocaine, and I think I even said in the chat that I was like, I don't know if the guy who wrote this knows how cocaine works, but this is definitely not a bunch of people on cocaine.
But like that was cocaine and alcohol. I don't know.
Dude, like I don't know what cocaine they're fucking taking, but normally the alcohol is just to keep quenching the thirst. Getting drunk isn't a fucking option.
Like I said, maybe it was ketamine.
No. It was blatantly cocaine. It was said cocaine.
I know.
Horny blonde chick at one stage goes, "Daddy wants some cocaine." Remember?
Yes, I know. How would you smuggle in cocaine? Blah, blah.
How else do you smuggle cocaine?
Unfortunately,
obviously.
Back to the whole like character. Like the characters were there for filler. You had God, he didn't even get a mention. Omar and Elijah, the two best friends. Really, like anybody that got pulled into the film was just.
That's why I said it to you when I got like 20 minutes into the movie, and they'd showed up at the castle, and the other lads hadn't showed up yet, and I was like, I have a funny feeling it's just kind of gonna go slasher movie once the mates show up, and it was literally like, okay, they're literally here to die.
It really was, dude, because unfortunately they got, and I've seen like a lot of shit movies where like we couldn't figure out what to give this character to say, but fuck, this movie like tanked it. It was like, hey, party, and like that's the only thing these poor bastards had to say. Like they really kind of fucked them in the whole line department. I didn't even really care if they developed. It was just the fact that they had nothing to say. There were so many times where they were like in the background going, "Mom, I'm in a movie," and then like we went to the next fucking scene. That's
one of the issues with the character layout in the whole film is the fact that like in a movie where you're supposed to kind of feel for Shelley, do you know what I mean? She's your like, I'm supposed to be rooting for Shelley. In the entire movie, I really couldn't have given a flying fucking diddly do what happened anybody whatsoever. Didn't bother me a fuck.
And some things happened.
Don't get me wrong. There's some really cool shock value moments. I wouldn't call them like they're there for shock value. I don't know if you're going to be kind of shocked. You like because one of the shock value things, like while shocking, you really see it coming.
Well, unfortunately, like there's a lot of shit. Like you look at the characters, you're like, you're dead. You're dead. I hope for a twist that you'll live, but I'm pretty sure you'll fucking die too. This really is like a cut and dry kind of fucking movie, you know? But like again though, it's so simple. You can sit back and enjoy like gore, kind of like some stupid shit. Like you don't really have to put fucking thought into it. You can just kind of sit back and enjoy the nods to like Castle Freak, enjoy the nods to
Reanimator.
Thank you.
Thank
you. And that one, you know, I don't know. Like, I don't necessarily take like every horror film serious. I just need some shit that'll help me like kill time at like 3 a.m.
I don't take every horror film serious either. But when the movie takes itself as seriously as this one did.
Oh, see, I didn't think it took itself serious though.
Where in the fuck do you get there? There's not a funny fucking moment in that whole fucking movie. There's yeah.
No, like it wasn't intentional, but I didn't think it was serious. I mean, the bedroom scene with John alone, I'm like, yeah, whatever.
Dude,
like I didn't think we were like really going
look at the way
serious
that
anywhere.
Shot serious as fuck. There's no ha-ha moment in that whole movie. There's not a moment of levity whatsoever in that whole movie, in my opinion. Outside of like what Giz said, there's some stuff that you laugh at, but I don't think you're supposed to laugh at it.
No, like I don't know, man. Overall, like I dug the fact that we went in a completely different direction. It wasn't just some like
that's bullshit. The only thing that I'll give it, because I've said this many times, especially because we do original versus remake. My key thing for a remake is take parts of the original.
Sorry, just briefly. Sweet Rabbit, which sex scene were you laughing your ass off at? Because let's be honest, there was a couple, and one of them.
You know which one it is.
Yeah. Also, if you notice, we're towing around things because we're trying not to spoil it because this movie is freshly out, so we're trying to go around things.
Too quickly, I assumed. I went to what was it, like the second sex scene?
Yeah, look, the problem with that is, dude, the problem with that scene is, right, and in fairness, I was pretty much commenting my thoughts because I do that sometimes when I'm watching the movies with the lads that I'll just do a running commentary in the chat so I can kind of refer back to it when we're doing the show. Very early in the movie, I was like, one of these two people's getting fucked by that you know? Don't ask me why, just there was a vibe that I was just like,
And I was like, yep, it gets its vibes off.
Me and Buzz trying not to give shit away. We were
this is the issue with the movie. You didn't have to give shit away. I was just calling shit.
But back to what I was saying. That's one key when it comes to remakes that I want in a remake is the fact that they're going to take the source material and kind of go a different direction.
Yeah.
Not because if they're just going to do a carbon copy, then I'll just watch the original because it's probably better. Yeah. But I just don't like the direction they went.
Yeah.
That's my issue with it.
I don't have an issue with the direction overall. Like, as I said, once all the Necronomicon related shenanigans starts kicking off, I was very that's pretty cool.
My non-knowledge of all that shit is probably why I was confused as fuck because I didn't know all this shit that Giz talked about this movie.
Okay, but I didn't either. I just looked at it from Castle Freak 1 to Castle Freak 2.
I looked at it as I was getting Mother Krampus vibes.
Oh, I would. Come on now. I wouldn't say that.
I mean, you've got this upscale palette. You know, you're like, you want good. And I'm like 3 a.m. I just want to be fucking slightly entertained.
I'm a fancy motherfucker.
But as
that's
a
all I can
review,
say.
though,
Harvey,
would you, as an overall review, would you consider what you just said there a good review? I'm not looking for good. I'm just looking for something that at 3 a.m. will keep me slightly entertained.
That's what they're going to put on the Blu-ray when it comes out.
Seriously, like, I never said this was like fucking Hollywood awesome. I liked it for what it was, dude. You know, oh boy, that fucking when John got laid the second time, I was laughing. You know, like when Shelley,
That was
when
very well put.
Shelley had that weird dream. When Shelley had that weird dream, and Castle Freak's watching her have that dream,
It was
I
more
was
the
laughing.
dream itself.
Like,
I was a little bit like,
I don't know. Like,
wait. You're watching.
Right.
You're watching the dream
But
initially,
in a
and
sense,
it's a couple of seconds in.
little
Everything happens in such a way that you're like,
No.
okay, she's dreaming
Okay.
about the. Wait a minute, is that? Wait, come to think of it, isn't that woman her mother?
no. But that's like, but in a sense, though, we don't know. Castle Freak knows what she's dreaming about. She's just knocking one off, and Castle Freak's like, oh shit, I'll knock one off too.
Yeah, but that's in the original as
and
well.
does.
Yeah, that's the key connection of a Castle Freak is diddling, self-diddling.
Okay, but unfortunately,
That's what
like
we're
they
gonna play
do.
with.
But unfortunately, like you and me talked about, Johnny, like there is way too much shock value because, like, you watch Castle Freak and you hear that shit hit the floor.
There's
It's
so
like
much I want to talk about.
And like, I was like, oh, we went there. All right, cool. It like this is a awesome 3 a.m. Like I have nothing better to fucking do movie, and I dug the shit out.
Bring up Fangoria,
And
lads.
all of
I
a
think we got the
sudden,
quote for the
like,
box. There we go.
And then all of a sudden, it gets, and then all of a sudden it gets like super, like holy fuck Lovecrafty, and I'm like, this I will rewatch this shit. I dug the fuck out of it.
I dug the fuck out of the last 45 minutes until the post-credit scene, which I had a blatant issue with, which I won't get into because there's no way of me doing that rant without spoiling it.
But I will also put a warning out there, because the first time I watched it, I was like, "Oh, credits." I got used to like the MCU doing post credits, so I'm like, anything else I watch, what was that? Cadaver Christmas. I wasn't really.
Neither was I. One of you had to tell me, be like,
post-credits.
"You saw the post-credit scene, yeah?" Nope. Okay, back to the movie. Right.
Yeah. Now, apparently, like I'm having to skip through to make sure. Castle Freak 2020 does have post-credit scenes, and you and me argue like that had no fucking point. And I'm like, it had the same point as the fucking movie,
which is my fucking problem with
like,
the movie.
No.
Like,
There kind of was a point without spoiling things. There kind of was a point, but you only get it if you've read shit.
no,
I don't
that's
think
true.
you need to have read the shit to get what the point is. It's just like it's. I actually don't have an issue with the ending of the movie. As I said, the last 45 minutes of the movie, I really fucking enjoyed. I liked the direction they went with it. Some of the special effects that they did were fucking awesome. It's just the rest of the movie sucked nuts. To be honest, it was just an hour of nothing happening and shaky camera work and a lot of zoom ins and zoom outs.
Okay. Do we want to go into a trailer and then maybe go on to the next one because we're like a half an hour talking about
3 hour
this.
shows. That's what we do on a Thursday. Anyway, here's the trailer for Castle Freak 2020, and we're moving on to. Dude, it's already happening. I don't mean to shock you. Anyway, here's the trailer for Castle Freak 2020, and we're going to be back where we're going to be talking about Wonder Woman.
Hey, how long till we get there, man?
Just a few more miles.
I've never seen anything like this.
Welcome to Waitley Castle.
This was my mother's house.
Yes. Now the castle is yours to do with as you wish. Life here can really be surprising in ways you cannot imagine.
This is a Necronomicon. Dates back to the Middle Ages. Listen to this. There's monstrous creatures who once ruled over the earth. There's a prophecy that the old ones will return to this world and cast it into eternal darkness.
Do you hear that?
Hear what?
There's someone living in the walls of this castle.
What the hell? The mirrors are all broken.
Whatever's hiding in the walls, I think it lives here.
That castle is filled with evil. And now, all hope is lost.
Start to get notoriety.
Right,
Fuck
that
you.
was the trailer for Castle Freak 2020. As I said, my overall review is I didn't hate it. I didn't particularly like it either.
Which is kind of my overall review for the next film.
Yeah,
on
it's
our
kind of my overall review.
Yeah.
You know, my review is a good review, but it also has some of the same issues as Castle Freak. Which are, I don't know if I don't know if I can talk about the litmus test I use to differentiate timings, but on air. Yes.
Should I handle
Go
the
on.
synopsis for this one? Okay. Wonder Woman 1984. How can I put this? Put on your rose-tinted glasses, sit down, and watch a modern-day, somewhat remake of the 1970s TV series, or attempted homage, I suppose, is the best way of putting it. Everything about this is brightly colored because, quite honestly, after Shazam, well, actually after Justice League, DC decided they were going to try and take the Avengers model and make everything bright and color orientated, starting with Shazam and continuing on with this. So gone is the dark and gritty World War movie that we got for the first Wonder Woman, and instead we basically get a, like I said, put on your rose-tinted glasses and look at a very much different version of the 1980s, which could have been ripped straight out of a comic book from the 1980s. In this, Wonder Woman is acting in secret. Apparently no one knows that she is a hero because she manages to avoid cameras and things like that. And despite the fact that everyone sees her doing stuff.
They managed. I mean, like, really, it was kind of easy back then. We didn't have, like, the amount of camera work that we do now.
Yeah, maybe, whatever. Anyway, so while she is doing this, Maxwell Lord, the CEO of Black Gold, aka a massive fucking con man, is trying to basically make as much money. Yes, very well done. Is basically trying to. You can see it from the outside. It's a Ponzi scheme. You know, it's one of these. Everyone gives in money.
You can also
everyone
see it
gets
from
part
the
of this,
inside
and
because
you'll
one
all
of the
be-
guys
you'll
literally
go-
goes, "This is a fucking Ponzi scheme" to him at one stage during the movie, just in case people didn't figure it out.
Yeah, pretty much.
Right.
However, behind all this, he's also looking for a certain ancient artifact, and as a result, he is funding a museum, the archaeological works in it. This artifact finally comes to light. It is being examined by one Barbara. Crap, I lost the name. Minerva. There we go. Barbara Minerva, as played by Christine Wiig, who works under Gail Gadget's Diana Prince.
Yeah.
Kristen Wiig, sorry. Who works in the museum under Gail Gadget's Diana Prince or Wonder Woman. Yeah, because like who better to verify antiquities than someone that's been around that long?
Yeah.
Right.
I remember that.
So, so yeah, they find the artifact. Lord is instantaneously interested because, you know, this is what he's been looking for.
And he gets to try and hump Kristen Wiig to try and get to it, which makes it even more interesting for him.
You know, shit.
Yeah. Before he gets a chance to get his grubby little claws in it, Kristen Wiig inadvertently uses it to make a wish because apparently that's what it's supposed to do. And as a result, she starts instantaneously becoming sexier, cooler, and 1,000 times stronger and able to beat the shit out of people, which is actually kind of cool.
Yes,
Cool,
it is.
to be honest. Diana also makes a wish, which leads to, basically her ex coming back and bodyjacking some poor random guy who they then decide that they're not going to give a crap about because it's all happy days. Because Diana can only see her dead ex, so it's all right if they do things with this random dude's body.
Got to do with it.
So yeah, Steve Trevor is back in some other dude's body, but it's okay because we're all seeing through Diana's eyes, so we see it as.
Do you know what I mean? Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Right.
Yeah. So anyway, we all see this Chris Pine, Steve Trevor. So we have hilarious montages where he gets up to date on fashion, technology, and the difference between sculptures and bins. Eventually, Diana realizes
we should have that many fucking wardrobe montages. I'm just gonna say.
I don't mind wardrobe montages when they're actually
like
kind of funny, but it was just none of the jokes in it kind of really did shit all for me, to be blatantly honest. So it's just like, it's Steve in a different suit. That's nice.
Yeah.
And just to clarify, Gal Gadot, just to let you know, he did look like a fucking pirate. I'm just going to put it out there.
You go looking for the artifact only to find that Maxwell Lord has actually gotten his hands in it and he's done a big whoopsie and now he has a lot of power and we're not going to talk anymore because it's just after coming out.
Yeah.
And it's a brand new film. But needless to say, it is a romping adventure wherein Wonder Woman tries to stop the bad guy.
It's a romping adventure at the start and the finish. The middle, there's a lot of middle.
There is. It's 2.5 hours. Yeah. It's 2.5 hours long. And
I can't remember if one of you said this to me earlier in the week, but you said it was like they just kind of added loads of extra stuff just to get it up to the 2.5 hour mark because that's what DC superhero movies are.
Yeah. Superhero movies come close. Your movies don't have to be 2.5 hours long. It's okay.
Movies, hey, just to let you know, Disney and Marvel and all of that. Back in the good old days, called the 80s and the 90s, movies used to be about 90 minutes. 105.
Yeah,
105. That was a good. That was a good thing. Then
unless you're aliens.
Unless you're aliens, yeah. Well, no, some movies were long. It was just predominantly. It's just everything seems to be. It's not a movie unless it's at least 2 hours long now.
Looking at you, Casablanca, stupid long ass movie.
Did you say Casablanca?
I know, it's like. I wonder, do they get like a commission for the longer people stay in seats?
Right, I wondered about that, dude. Because
must not have. There was nobody in seats because no fucking theaters are open.
No. We released Wonder Woman.
No, that would make a movie.
When we released Wonder Woman, it was their new venture of we will release it on HBO Max and theater. There may have been some asses in seats in that moment.
Couple.
Overall, it's a fine movie. If you can find something to do for about 45 minutes in the middle of it, you'll find the movie breezes by.
Look, at the end of the day,
self during the movie.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, right? Here's the biggest problem, right? DC, even in the comics, are a very dark, serious storyline for a lot of it. And when the DC films started, Zack Snyder's vision for them was to be that. And we're hopefully going to be getting the proper vision of that when he does that director's cut miniseries on HBO Max.
Snyder cut.
Now, unfortunately, the thing is, Marvel took off so quickly and so big that DC went, oh shit, maybe we should do colorful stuff. And the first thing they did was to get in Joss Whedon and make Justice League all colorful.
Do you know why the Marvel thing took off so quickly, DC? Is because Marvel went in with like a 50-year plan. That's why it took off so fucking quickly. You're making it up as you go along. Do you know what I mean? Marvel went in and we're doing Iron Man. Nick Fury showing up at the end of Iron Man. People are going to go, whoa, what the fuck? And then all of the movies are going to start dropping ploppity plop 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 plop.
But that's just it. Hang on. There was a plan at the start. And because they panicked and went, we're not getting... Yeah, there was.
Right.
And because they panicked and went, we're not getting the numbers Marvel are getting, we're not doing it the same way as them, they went, screw the plan, let's make Shazam.
It
At
wasn't
which point
just
I just went, okay, I can see where things are going now.
But it wasn't just a Shazam, though. Like, they panicked, like you said. And then they just kind of, like, started shooting off the cuff. Now, as a fan, I've dug a lot of Marvel shit, but DC is killing it in, like, anime.
Yeah, 100%.
Yes,
they always have.
Yeah,
whatever
they always
you
have.
name it. Yeah, right.
Just go back to the 90s, the unified DC continuity that started with Batman, Superman, Justice League, and
Batman
beyond.
versus Dracula, all of that fucking shit.
Oh
Fucking
my
great.
God. And then,
That's
okay, and
different
then they
continuity.
launched...
Yes, no, I'm just talking about Batman.
Right, but then they
general.
launched... But then they launched the what was that? The Flash.
The New 52 animated stuff.
Point. The Flashpoint, and they
the
started
new,
like yeah.
They did a continuity of about I think it was 15 films that started with Flashpoint, and all of them very serious movies with a proper apocalyptic ending for the final one.
Dark, good storylines. And I was fucking hooked on each and every one. Dude. Constantine killed it. Fucking King of Atlantis killed it. For whatever reason, they make a plan in live action and then backpedal.
It's annoying because it's like if you put half of the ingenuity into your actual movie franchise as you've done with the animated stuff, you'd be rolling in bank.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But they kind of panic because then like you have what was it, Elijah? No, I can't remember the old boy that played the Flash live action.
I can't remember his name
in the movies.
Something Miller. I can't.
Elijah something
Miller.
Elijah Miller.
Yeah.
I
think so. I remember
Ezra Miller. Yeah. That's it.
Okay. So, like, we start kind of panicking because, like, he got into some personal shit off screen. We've now got Ray Fisher, because I can't remember his real name, and the actor. We've had personal conflict. Like, DC kind of, hey, we're going to take 3 steps forward. Shit. 2.5 steps back. Like, they can't figure out what they want to do live action.
Had all the shit with Affleck, had all the shit with...
yeah.
But that's always been the case.
It was worth it for sad Affleck memes, man.
Go back to the Batman movies. That's always been. Go back to the Superman movies. That's always been the way with DC. You know, even if you go back to Superman 2, there's 2 different versions of Superman 2 because there was a plan, and then fucking people panicked or whatever, and they changed it. So, which is why years later you ended up with the director's cut version of Superman 2, which is a very different film.
I didn't realize there was a director's 2 on Superman.
Oh, yes. Yes, there is.
I didn't realize there was a director's cut for Superman 2.
Like I said,
I kind of like
story,
I thought
the
they
original
did a
plan.
really good job because you have like Michael Keaton. That got weird then because we started adding like who was that? George Clooney and
didn't happen.
Once again, that was the plan being followed. That was a plan up to a point and then shoot off the cuff. Batman's really popular. Let's make a load of other movies.
The company was like, yeah, these movies are too dark, and that wasn't what they wanted. They wanted campy Batman, so we got George Clooney, Val Kilmer, camp, fucking.
And see, like, I don't know, man. I just think if DC put their foot down and goes, "Hey, this is where we're going," stayed with it.
I mean, they would be able to get something going, but they're just so far behind now. Where it's like, even if you do, who cares? Some people like it.
Whoa.
But
here's the thing: DC have got stuff going, but it's all on the small screen. Once again, look to their animated stuff, or look to what they're doing in conjunction with the CW. The Flash, Arrow's finished, but there's still a plethora of shows coming from there, and they're going strong. It's just their big screen. It's just their big screen live action stuff. Every time they go to make a movie, they'll get it right for 1 or 2, and then for some reason they will lose faith in themselves, and it just turns to spank.
That's the unfortunate thing, though, is like all like the TV shows, the animated stuff is all good and everything, but a lot of that stuff comes from the box office. And if your box office, like your success and stuff like that, if it's not happening, that's where the big money's at, is what's on screen, not what's on the TVs, not what's on the.
I think that's
yes
debatable
and no,
at this
though.
stage, man.
Well, no,
Yes
it is
no,
debatable because they're
maybe kids.
I'm not saying it's all of it, but
well, no, it's debatable because like
it would be a large quantity, but it's
because like
money, then they're going to be like, okay, say 50% here, 25, 20, whatever. Like they're losing a chunk of stuff.
Like, because like maybe Giz can back me up on that. You look at like Young Justice. They put out season 1. They were like, oh, people didn't like it, so they canceled it. Then they went ahead and put out season 2.
No, they had season 2 pretty much done, and it was coming out, and for some reason they decided they were killing it. But there was a lot of stuff. Yeah, and there was a lot of stuff that Cartoon Network killed around that time. Anyway, they killed Thundercats, and they killed Green Lantern, and they killed Batman.
Right,
and,
but I mean, like DC,
and once again,
like
toy-based.
their biggest problem. I feel like DC's biggest problem is they look at like toys and what have you, and I don't know. Marvel just said, "Hey, here's our plan. If it fails, if it succeeds, we're good." And like they even crammed shit in later, Captain Marvel, what have you, Black Panther, and they was like, "Look, this is the course we picked. We're gonna fucking stick with it." And DC's like, "Oh, this isn't working. Fuck it," and like they panic, and like all of a sudden they just wipe the board.
Just so you know, the whole Captain Marvel and Black Panther bit that wasn't crammed in. Before Iron Man came out,
from what I read, it
was before Iron Man came out. There was definitely 3 phases planned out because I had said it for years. This is going to be ending with this.
But
so
they already had those 3 years planned out, and then all of a sudden they came out with Black Panther and Captain Marvel.
How they're doing it now. You just saw last month or so ago when they had that Disney Expo. They have 3, 4, 5 years down the line, so there's nothing to say.
Right.
Will we listen to the trailer for Wonder Woman as we've gone off of the movie review and very much into it, just a general DC discussion? Okay, so everyone's opinions on Wonder Woman before we go into the trailer?
It's not as good as the first film, but it's not as bad as Shazam either.
Right.
It's a good family movie. If you're a fucking comic fan, what the fuck? But if you're going to sit down with your kids, it'll be fun.
I enjoyed it. You just need to trim down a little bit of the fat.
Yeah.
A little bit too long.
I'd be the same. I enjoyed it, but if you're the type of person that likes to take a power nap in the middle of a movie and then wake up to kind of see the ending and stuff, that'd probably be a really good
or have a shag.
No, that's just yeah, find some wholesome family activity to do to kill about 45 minutes in the middle.
Not every movie needs to be like 2.5 fucking hours.
Yeah, not every movie needs to be 2.5 hours. Like I would have really enjoyed this if it was like an hour 45. The story would have been way more concise. I can even tell you how you'd chop it out.
And it would have worked.
Yeah.
The deadly cut.
I can't do that though because it would involve getting way too more into the plot than we want to. Anyway, here's the trailer for Wonder Woman 1984, and we're gonna be back to say goodbye.
My life hasn't been what you probably think it has. We all have our struggles.
Your time will come, Diana. And everything will be different.
You look like you saw a ghost.
Citizens of the world,
I'm here to change your life.
Anything you want, anything you dream of, you can have it.
I don't want to be like anyone. I want to be an apex predator.
Will come when you have to run. Why? They will never find us.
I forgot to tell you.
What?
Radar.
Will they shoot at us? I've never been one for rules. The answer is always more. The world needs you. You know what you need to do.
Nothing good is born from lies. And greatness is not what you think.
And that was the trailer for Wonder Woman 1984. Yeah, overall, it's a grand movie. Just long.
Yeah. Because
Too many clothes montages, in my opinion, that weren't funny. That would be like another gripe I had. But I'll tell you what, at least they used a fucking Steadicam, so that's a bonus. Anyway, join myself and the kids this Sunday where we're going to be talking about some... I don't know what we're doing this Sunday because we don't actually have a team thing. We're going to have a random... We might just pick some random movies. We might just do a random Sunday.
Yeah, there's a couple of new ones out that look a little bit interesting.
We'll get
perhaps.
the credit cards out and go get some rentals going. And other than that, Buzz and Carter are back this Tuesday with... Oh,
Willard.
I love that movie so much. Willard.
What do you do?
Willard.
Killer Rats. We'll leave it at that.
Yep.
And then you'll have to wait till middle of the week to find out what we're going to be doing for everything else because even we don't know.
We'll probably wait until then.
And as always, don't forget to do a big favor and hit the subscribe button if you're new and you haven't seen this. And there's a whole bell thing if you want to get notified. Even though, as Katie proved earlier, they won't notify you anyway, even if you have the bell. But
sometimes it doesn't work.
You know, give it a go anyway. It's like a lottery. Who's going to get the notification? I don't know. You know, and other than that, Joe, myself, Giz, Buzz, and Carter next week, where we're going to be talking about some other sort of mad horror bollocks. GoreCast out.
Oh.
Don't forget, if you enjoy our Madcap GoreCast horror hijinks, we stream 3 nights a week over on YouTube, Mondays, Thursdays, and Sundays, where you can see a little bit of this. Turd spoon, god damn, I knew there was something I wanted to bring up in the... God damn, I don't know what a fucking turd spoon is, but I'm mad to...
Get it pretty in-depth.
Most definitely some of this.
With a new 2009 twist. She pulls out of her vagina.
I'll give it to her, though, because, like, you know how, like, magicians kind of, like, do something and they pause dramatically? She took that dramatic pause.
And occasionally, some of this.
Our favorite Halloween movies.
What's up, GoreCasters? Welcome back here to the GoreCast. Yeah, okay, I'm here. I'm back.